Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new series on the channel that I'm starting called Soaring to a Realm Beyond. In this series, I'm going to be inviting as many Spyro-related YouTubers as I possibly can over to the channel to talk about Spyro, A Realm Beyond, and just treat this as sort of like a podcast kind of thing. Now, this may end up being probably the longest video to start things off, but who better to start off with than Canadian Guy A? I want to give a huge thank you to him for taking the time, again, to sit down and record this. This was a lot of fun, and let me know in the comments down below who you would like to see me invite next. Be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell and enjoy the video. Let's just go ahead and jump into this. So,
Hi,
obviously... Hey, how's it going? I'm here with Canadian Guy A, the one, the only, the guy that hyped up Spyro 4 the most out of everybody.
You would know, you've edited a few of them.
Yes. So, I mean, obviously you've said it multiple times on your streams and in your videos, but just let me know how excited you are now, knowing that it exists now.
Oh gosh, it's like I don't even know where to start with let me just go back to the feeling that I had when I saw it happening. I remember it mechanically, but I almost blacked out, right? I could mechanically retell you, but I have a hard time revisualizing it because it was just so powerful. It was 8 years of pent up anguish. So it's frustrating when you see something, you know something, and you can't say anything in a certain way, or you can't communicate it in a way that you want to, so you try to find other means of trying to say it. And, you know, I think you've seen it. There's a lot of spice on the internet regarding to some of my speculation.
Yes.
Let's be honest here. And I genuinely was, when I saw it, I felt like a tension in my muscles just relieved that I didn't know was there. I knew it was there, but I didn't realize how bad it was. If you look at the live stream after the fact, after the reveal, because I have the initial reaction, but then I have the stream. The stream afterwards, I looked like a zombie. I was excited, but it was I was just ah, just I was tired.
I totally get that. It's just you finally get it, and then all that energy, all that hype of just seeing it, and it completely leaves your body.
Yes, yes.
Oh man, now I'm really tired.
Oh yeah, it does. Now I'm really tired. Well, also too, for me, this is my full-time job, right? This is what I do full-time.
Yes.
And there was something that I was sitting here, and I knew that I was it was and wasn't a gamble. It was a gamble because I knew that if there was no new Spyro materialized, my channel was done. That was it, right? That was...
Yeah, having that pressure is a lot for somebody.
Yeah, because the thing is that my credibility is out the window at this point, right? But I knew that it was a thing, but the problem was that I was worried about corporate interference. I was worried about, we're going to be adjusting the marketing. And even if it was real, let's say even if I was correct and it was real, but it got canned, my career would still have been over. Right?
Oh, yeah,
I could have
because
been
people would just be going at you every single moment until the actual reveal comes out. Right. And the fact of the matter remained was that I was like, this is going to be awful if this doesn't happen, because even if I am right, if it doesn't materialize, and the worst part is in the gaming industry, that happens a lot more commonly than doesn't. Oh yeah.
Right. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, if this doesn't materialize, my career is cooked, period. Right. And if I were to turn and talk about anything else and do research and even learn my lesson and do research, or air quote, learn my lesson, and do research into other things and start talking about them, all everyone's going to turn and say is, yeah, but what about Spyro 4? For the rest of, right? Even if I got the next 3 projects right.
It's always going to go back to that one specific thing just because of how much you really hyped it up and you your entire channel for a moment was just nothing but Spyro 4 speculation.
Yes, exactly. And it was speculation, but it was also, how do I word this? It was educational research in a sense, I guess. Yes, it educated research, but there was also, and even now, and I always say this, and people have always asked me on stream, oh, do you know things that we don't? And I say, absolutely. Right? Because what, as you know, right, and you would know because you've worked with other content creators, you and I have had conversations, you've heard things, I've heard things. When you're in this creative space, you hear things. And the legitimacy of those things vary. Sometimes you hear something that sounds massive and it is completely wrong. Sometimes you hear something small and out of the blue and you're like, nah, this couldn't be true. And it's all 101% true, right? That's just the space that we're in. This is just how it works, right? So
yeah, you all just get like grouped into these inner circles, and like once the information comes out, it's like, oh, okay, well, that's interesting.
Yeah, exactly, right? And there are things that are like, it's true. It's like you get looped into these inner circles. Sometimes I've been into inner circles for games that I don't care about, and I'm like, what?
Oh yeah, I mean, like I feel like I've been there too. It's just like,
yeah.
It's cool that I know this information, but like, what am I going to do with it?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what am I going to do with this? Like, for example, I had heard years ago that, and then of course it got canned and everyone was sad about it. And I was like, oh, that kind of sucks, because I knew about, there was going to be like a Time Splitters new, either like remake or remaster.
Oh.
And at one point I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then the news of it came out like 2 months later, where there was a rumor. I was like, oh, I heard that rumor too. And then a year later, it's like, yeah, there was one in development, but they canned it. I was like, oh, that.
Yeah.
Oh,
and that is also another like fickle thing of being in these inner circles and hearing this information, because like, even if you wanted to post about it or anything like that, by the time it comes around, like, it's either going to be an actual product or it's going to be something that is like announced was canceled.
Right. And the thing is that what's really interesting though, and I'm going to say this, is that it would seem, if I didn't know better, and maybe I don't, but it would seem that Toys for Bob was making it a point that they've been wanting to do Spyro for years. Because I do remember there was some rumors started where they weren't interested in Spyro anymore, or it was just purely Crash Bandicoot. There was all these rumors that were, circulating around, and I was like, okay, that's kind of strange, because that's not what I heard, right? So my problem that I had, and I'll say this, is that the problem that I had was that I knew Toys for Bob wanted to do a Spyro game. I'm not going to reveal, oh, what's your source on that? No, listen, okay? Look, okay, you don't get, I won't say anything, but you don't get flown to Toys for Bob for no reason. You don't go to Beanox for no reason. There's a reason why, right? There's a reason why. So, in that reasoning, I knew that Toys for Bob wanted to do Spyro, and I thought that would have been enough. I thought that would have been enough to get it made. And I was partially correct, because that's how it was made now. But beforehand, when I was speculating on it heavily, I thought that was the, like, oh, Toys for Bob wants to do it, it's going to happen. And to a point, that's true, but there was a third piece of the recipe that needed to be done, and that was, we didn't know what it was. And now that we kind of have a better look at it, it was essentially, it was Activision, but they didn't turn around and be like, hey, listen, we need you to, hey, we don't want Spyro, go work on Call of Duty. That wasn't the case. It was, hey, COVID is causing us to explode and die, and our golden geese are currently on fire. So we need to put out the fires of the main money trains, right? And it was, and the main money trains being Call of Duty, Overwatch, etc., right? And so, and now with all these interviews that have come out, all these rounds of interviews that Lou and Paul have been doing, and I think we're at the end of their initial round of interviews after yesterday's Kind of Funny podcast, they even reiterated again, it was, this was mandated. This was something that they were like, hey, we need to get this done. It has to be done. And Toys for Bob was just like, okay, we love the franchises, but we don't want to be mandated to do this ever again.
Right.
Yeah. And
no, that's perfect sense. And I mean, like, even outside of like you know, just for those that are like, I guess not like too in the know, but like I feel like there were a few signs that made it kind of obvious that Toys for Bob really wanted to go back to Spyro at some point, because like even in like Crash 4 you have like that Skylanders eruptor float. But in the concept art specifically, there's a sign in the future level. I always forget the name of it. I think it's the one that they did for Tana and Dingo. Yeah. And like there's in the concept art, there's a sign that's like Spyro 4.
Yeah. And it was clear that they wanted to do this. It's clear that there was a desire, and they even made a point yesterday where during the podcast, I might refer back to that podcast a few times from Kind of Funny.
That's perfectly fine. I mean, it's recent information. We also got some pretty new information as well, I think. So
yeah, it was and nothing came out of that podcast that was like breaking news, but it was a lot of that's interesting. And one of them was that when they went to Xbox, when they approached Xbox, they're like, hey, we want to work on Spyro. Here's like, that was it. So we want to go independent and we want to make a Spyro game. And it wasn't because the question was, were you guys, between you and Xbox, were you guys deliberating on what game to do? And was it like a discussion? They were like, no, we approached Xbox and said, we're doing Spyro. And it was like, wow, that's that takes a lot of guts to just turn around and say, no, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, it's pretty bold.
Yeah, I was like, that's bold. And they were like, that's what we're doing. And to me, that really is a testament. And also, they did a shout out to Spyro Community Day, which I was just like, heck yes. I was like, yes, the
big
event.
Congrats on that one.
Thank you. That was, that was something I was just like, yes, it was referenced. Here's Gavin, the mustached, the amazing mustache dragon, which I love these dragons. These dragons are so good. But, no, it was to kind of wrap it all up to finally see it out, to finally see this here, to finally see everything come out in this way. And also now being a member of Team Spyro, which I mean is incredible. And I'm excited to see what that leads to. I am so bloody thrilled to finally see this game out. Also, and I'll be, I'll low key, not sliding hate. I don't want to say that, but I'll low key say to all the people that say it's technically not Spyro 4 CG. Come on, let's not be obtuse. Come on. we were calling it Spyro 4.
Even to go back to that podcast specifically, for anybody that may have that opinion, they did say it's still interconnected to the original series.
Correct.
It is a continuation.
Yes. They said the original character brought over, but they want to make it as like entry, like you don't need to play the previous games. Crash 4, you probably needed to play or at least be familiar with the original games before you hopped in. A Realm Beyond, no, you wouldn't need to be familiar with the original games to be able to find joy in it. Though there will be references and ideas that I think are going to really make Spyro fans happy in different ways, which I'm really excited to see what they do with that, because the one thing that Toys for Bob have always said is that they wanted to be stewards of the franchise, right? They want to be, the people that really is. That thing is giving you a problem, eh?
It's not working for me. I'll come back to that.
It's like, come on.
So used to the original. I don't play Reignited too much. Nothing against Reignited. It's just
sure.
I prefer original movement.
That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, it's been a wild ride. It's been a wild ride, and I kind of slid all my chips on Double Black, but I also knew that I said if this turns out to be true, because when I made my initial report, so I will say this, there is in my mental mind, and people can lay it out if they want, or people can say whatever they want. In my mind, there was a timeline. There is before report and after report, and or you could also truncate it to before indie and after indie, where there was years of this speculation of Spyro. Now, also, I'm not going to talk about it here because the person I spoke to about it told me not to go in depth with it, but this was years ago, so I still won't. But I will, give a wink towards it. I'll give a wink towards it, and that is that there was allegedly, so to cover my butt, a Spyro title that was in development between Reignited and A Realm Beyond, but was dropped.
Okay.
So there is some thought to put towards over the years of the teasing and stuff, where people were like, oh, that meant nothing. It's like, well, no, it wasn't that it meant nothing, is that it was building to something else, right? But also, too, Toys for Bob are rascals, and they know the buttons to... I believe they know the buttons to push to be able to get the Spyro fans up on their feet again. And I mean that, and when I say rascals, I mean that in the most loving sense of the word that I can make it, right? In that,
oh, yes.
They wanted to do Spyro, and I believe personally that they knew what buttons to push to be able to just keep just enough hope alive so that they could be able to have a what's the word I'm looking for? Not a stance, it's a business reason, a case. I'm getting there. I'm getting close to. Yeah, I know the word.
I get what you're trying to say.
A precedent.
Yes, a precedent. Yes, yes.
So that Toys for Bob had a precedent to be able to present to either Activision or Xbox or both or whomever that, hey, we want to do a Spyro. The fans still want a Spyro. Look at how people are reacting. We should probably do this. And I do feel like I had a part to play in that, and I recognize that very early. I recognized that I recognized very early that I'm like, okay, sometimes being a little cog in the wheel is okay, because to be a cog in the first place is important. And so I spun as hard as I could to be able to be like, I recognize and believe that Toys for Bob wants to do a Spyro. And or at the bare minimum, somebody wants to do a Spyro. There was a drifting eye at some point where I thought before the report that Beanox could have been behind it, and I did have that drifting eye, and I'm not gonna have revisionist history. I did, but that was not the case. So but what happened was that leading up to that report, I had heard something. So I made the report in March, I believe. It was March 2024, I believe. Yeah, I believe it was March 2024 is when I made the first report that, like, hey, oh, you missed a gem.
Yeah, I did. I wasn't even thinking about it. I was like, nope, I got them all.
You got them all, not you. Yeah, and it's a 1 gem too. That's
a 1 gem. That's all right. I can go back and clean that up.
There you go. So the thing that before my report, that was something that I was like, okay, I know they want to do it. I know they want it to be done. how do, so I was like, okay, let's search for evidence. And I still believe that there was something in development at some point, right? And also, even Paul Yan said at one point, where I got double check to confirm this. So take this following statement as unconfirmed, but that there were a number of prototypes through the years of them trying it out and trying to get it right. But the one thing that I can say is that they had it on the back burner forever. Like because they just said in yesterday's, broadcast that while they were working on Crash 4, all these ideas for Spyro, a new Spyro came up, and they're like, okay, well, we're one studio. Let's put a pin in it and let's revisit it later, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what was said yesterday. So there is enough of a trail to be able to say, hey, something's going on here, right? There you go, first try.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So there was enough of a precedent to say, but then what happened was that after my report in March, when I kind of got basically like a head, you go and read that, if anyone was interested to go back and look at that report, right? It was me confirming that, yes, there was now officially, in an official sense, a Spyro in development. And when that happened, it was both a blessing and a curse. And here's why. When you're trying to find content to talk about as a content creator, right?
It's a struggle.
It's a struggle.
Especially if it's a niche like Spyro.
Yeah, right. You can't just, it's not like Minecraft. It's not like some of these bigger games where it's like, hey, I could make a silly challenge for myself and get tens of thousands of views. No, right? It's very much like, hey, there's, you once you find your niche and you find your thing, you kind of have to stick to a certain vibe. And so after I turned around, I was like, hey, Spyro 4 is now in development. What that did for me was I couldn't sit there and start making speculation videos again in the terms of like, oh, could this mean a new Spyro is coming? Because I was the one that said, yes, it is coming, right? Mm-hmm. Right. And so what happened was that, because as people know with my channel, I try to cover everything, right? If something comes up, I try to cover it, right? But if I just turned around and said, hey, it's coming, and then something small pops up to speculate about, I can't make a video about it because it almost undermines my initial report, right? Because now I'm taking something that is of, I wouldn't say less of value, but that's much smaller, and trying to convince others that it's real when I already made a report that I was confident that it was real, right? But it got to the point where there was so much of this little pieces of evidence, and that almost a year and a half later, I made a video saying, if you don't believe, Spyro 4 exists, watch this video. And what I did was I was like, all right, I'm going to take my report out of this. Let me just pluck my report out of this evidence. So if you pluck my report out, now I can talk about all the other small things, right? And that's what I did. And I made it. It was like a 24-minute video of all the small stuff over the years, and all the different things that I kind of like congealed and amassed together to kind of show. And
you're right.
Yeah. So that was where I was like, yeah, here it is. And I've been wanting to do a video looking back on all of like the speculations that I did, and kind of give myself a grade for each of the videos, and like, oh, what did I say? What was true? What wasn't true? What's unconfirmed? And then give my rating like an A or a B. And I will tell you that I got one thing completely wrong. One thing completely wrong, and that was the release date. I was almost certain it was going to be this year. I was almost certain.
I mean, it certainly feels like it could have been. I mean, I'm actually shocked that it's coming out as soon as it is. I was expecting like late, if not this year, late 2027.
Yeah, like if you're going to break the pattern, break it hard, right? Yeah. But this is going to be funny as a future for my channel, because there was an Activision pattern that we followed, and there was a set like rules that we could, A Realm Beyond just blew them all to pieces. and just took it and just blew it.
It was like the most non-pattern following thing
broke it,
they've ever done for like a Spyro or Crash game.
Absolutely.
It was just like so weird.
2 gem behind you. It absolutely just blew it to blast it to smithereens, and it was like, oh my gosh. While I'm happy now, when we go back to the speculation board when it comes to next projects, whether it's another Crash game or CTR or whatnot, a Realm Beyond broke the pattern, and now we don't know.
Yeah,
we're like, okay,
so now you have to look for the pattern that's similar to that, but you won't know because the pattern is so difficult to recognize.
right. So the question becomes, okay, was a Realm Beyond a one-off break-off because of or is this the new pattern, right? Is this a new precedent? Because it could be a one-off because Toys for Bob had went indie and they needed to reestablish things and, get things going again and rebuild themselves. So this may have been a one-off, hey, this is the 1 year that we're going to break the pattern and go from there. But there was one thing that they confirmed, which I thought was hilarious during yesterday's stream, which is that they confirmed that they don't like and don't want to do long development times. They said 2 to 4 years is their 4 years at the max, 2 years minimum. That's what they said, right? And so I was like, okay, so that's one aspect of the pattern that we can hold on to, that a new Toys for Bob game will come out every 2 to 4 years. So, okay, but, and that's where a Realm Beyond is kind of funny. That's where it's like, okay, great. Yeah. Now we've broken the pattern, and now we gotta figure out, okay, is this just when we get to the next title, is this something that is going to continue, or is this something different? So yeah,
I would be very curious to see, because like I can definitely understand it from the standpoint of them just going indie, that the pattern would need to break just a little bit, but also I'm very curious to see if they learn anything new from this new approach with A Realm Beyond, and may try to adapt it into future games when they're marketing that. Yeah.
The thing that was that one of the things that's really interesting is that when you hear Paul and Lou speak, you can hear there's a lot of knowledge behind it. And one of the things that they were talking about in yesterday's stream was scope creep, which we kind of know what that is, which is like, hey, what if we had this cool idea, and the project grows and grows and gets to the point where it's not viable anymore, right?
Yeah.
So this is where they knew, they were like, hey, we know when to, we have vets that know when to rein it in. And having that knowledge to be able to have a team that knows when to go further, but more importantly, when to stop. Right? Because if you go too far, then of course Spyro becomes unrecognizable, you blow your budget out, the game gets too big, you miss your this, that, and the other. They have the knowledge to know, hey, when to pump the brakes and when to hit the gas.
Right. Which is very good knowledge to have, honestly, especially when you're coming up to a project such as Spyro and trying to figure out new ideas and new ways to take it, which I'm, again, very, very interested to see how the gameplay is going to mix the free flight or the dragon flight in with platforming, because I know in the podcast they said that it like meshes platforming and dragon flight together, so I'm very curious of their approach with that.
I think it's going to be, and I will give you my speculative thoughts on it. So it's an active dragon flight, right? The whole point of it is that they don't want you to just hit the button, set the GPS, and fly, right? No, they don't want that. They want, for you to be making conscious decisions. I think where they're going to have the platforming be able to be really good is one, I think they're going to be limiting it to where you're outside. I think when you're inside, you're not going to be able to fly, or very limited flight, because they're going to make the explanation like there's no draft in here, or there's nothing, for you to be able to, so I think that's one thing. But I think what they're going to do is, I want you to imagine getting to the top of a tower, and they were explaining that there's these sky rings that, I'll launch a Spyro without having him to flap his wings, which I'm sure will cost stamina or whatever, right? And I think what you're going to be seeing is that you're going to be seeing areas where to get from one tower to the other tower, you're not going to have enough stamina. So you have to go to this third tower that you can reach to that seems lower, but has like 2 sky rings that you can launch through to get to that initial tower that you're trying to get to, so that you can chain and bounce up and around to get to the top of a certain point. Because if you try to just straight fly to that certain point, you won't be able to make it. There's no way to get there. You have to get through a certain path to be able to get up there. And within those buildings and stuff could be the platforming and challenges that you need to be able to get to one side or to the other.
That could be very interesting. I know whenever it comes to thinking about the gameplay of A Realm Beyond, for myself personally, just hearing how they described that they want it to be like an entry point for new fans and, you know, obviously something for old fans to enjoy as well.
Yeah.
I always thought back to, like, could they potentially be looking more at, like, how Spyro 1 potentially handled it? What would you think? Like, based off of all the classic Spyro games in the trilogy, which one do you think they used more as reference?
I think that they're going to be probably using Spyro 1 and 2. And not so much 3, because the focus of 3 was, the whole point was playing different characters, right? That was the big focus of 3. And while 3 is considered as the best for many people, I think that they're going to be pulling back on that, because I think that I want you to imagine Spyro 3 without the extra characters, and if it released as 2 without the without the extra characters, I think Spyro 3 really like got the majority of like dialed in of like, this is the ideal Spyro experience in terms of move sets, in terms of you know balancing certain things. That's where I think they did really well. I think that they are going to be dabbling into Spyro 1 and 2 and pulling away from 3. I think that there is going to be, there's no way you can't have it. There's going to be some aspect of The Legend of Spyro, Dawn of the Dragon. There is going, like, you just, there's no way to not have it. And because of the nature of just how the game is, right? So when it comes to which game that they're going to be using, I think that it's going to be Spyro 1 and 2.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, you know, because Spyro 1 is very much like them, like Insomniac trying to figure out a direction to take this this platformer, this idea, and then Spyro 2 being like sort of like the evolution of it, redefining it and like establishing what it actually could be like. Just them saying that it's they want this game to be an entry point. In my mind, I'm like, okay, so it might be like a lot more like Spyro 1 in the sense of just the gameplay. Like this is like a new, as the title says, a realm beyond. So this is a new realm that Spyro's in, and they want to be able to maybe give it more of like a sandbox kind of feel with some levels intact, like Spyro 2.
Yeah, I think that what they're going to do as well is that I think that the nice thing about scope creep is that you can come up with an amazing idea and then you can set it aside for the sequel. Because the thing is that they need to be able to, and I know that Lou made a joke about it, where there was a question that was asked, and it was about will there be skateboarding in Spyro: A Realm Beyond? And Lou kind of answered kind of sheepishly, like, well, I think I can confirm that no, there is no skateboarding in A Realm Beyond. But he also made the offhanded joke, but he's also not wrong. But hey, it's an idea for a future title, right? To bring back.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And he said it lightheartedly, but I think that there's more truth to that than what people realize. The fact that, hey, while yeah, there definitely is a possibility that there's going to be another Spyro after this, where Toys for Bob is going to be like, that was awesome, let's do it again. And
gosh, I'm really hopeful for it.
Yeah.
I'm really, really hopeful for it.
I am too. And the best part is that there's no mandate to stop them now. There's no mandate. There's
no.
And also, too, you can tell Toys for Bob is swinging for the fences on this one. They're not going like, hey, let's do Crash 4, but Spyro 4, you know, safe, but with some new ideas. Where, hey, what if Naughty Dog made... No, they were like, all right, up to the plate. We're not swinging for a decent thing. We're gonna hit this ball to the moon. It's either to the moon or bust, really.
Right. Yep. Why is my controller doing that?
Yes, blame
giving
the controller.
Me a little bit of a jitter.
Jitter.
But yeah, no, I'm super excited to see what Toys for Bob is cooking with Realm Beyond, as much as everyone else is. And again, I'm honored to be a part of Team Spyro. I hope that I can do justice being a part of Team Spyro. I know my content's not regularly Spyro based, but I'm just excited to be a part of it and seeing what people are tending to like do in terms of collaboration. And it's just really nice to see the whole Spyro community finally come together again, you know, with something new and exciting to talk about.
Yes, and you know, we're going to be seeing brand new characters too. You have to realize too that we're going to be seeing brand new characters, brand new worlds.
I'm stoked. I mean, like I do get the sentiment that people have with wanting to see like Laura and Hunter and previous characters return.
Awesome. But
like brand new universe, brand new characters. Like I'm excited. I'm stoked to see what they can do.
Yeah, I'm excited too. And when they say that this is going to be a great entry point for any fan, that kind of tells me, oh, there's going to be a lot of brand new stuff, because if you have a bunch of characters that you already know, well, then you kind of needed to play the previous games. So if this is going to be a game that is going to be completely different, it's going to be like, oh, or it's going to be for any fan or at any level or brand new person, they're going to be introducing brand new characters, and there might be a lot of new characters.
Yes. And I mean, like, it's not to say that we won't ever see those classic characters come back again either. This could just be a way of getting people into the franchise and then being like, hey, you know, now that you're in and you know these new cast of characters, we can try and blend it up a little bit, you know, and kind of just switch it up.
Yeah, and I would love that. And again, I hope that there's also some fun lore and some story tidbits that we can dig into and theorize about, because some of that stuff is so much fun.
Oh yeah, no, and especially if it is the same Spyro from the classic trilogy that we know and love. Like I'm super stoked to see what lore that they plan on telling, and can even, like, I don't know, try and connect, you know, to the entire, like, the entire classic trilogy. Yeah.
And I'm so psyched. I'm so excited. I have so many videos. So many videos.
So happy for you, man.
Thank you.
I'm really happy for you.
Thank you. What I'm really excited about when it comes to the lore is that when you have Insomniac, they're just throwing things at the wall, right? They're just like, all right, we're making this game. Honey River done. Crystal Forest ship, right? So you know, it's wildly creative and chaos, right? But what's really cool is that with all that chaos, right, for Toys for Bob to step in and say, okay, can we weave a story in between this and have some interesting callbacks, right? So when it comes to lore and story, I'm excited to see what they do there. And the other thing that I think is going to be really the thing that I'll say a concern of mine, and I've said it over and over again, and people can quote me anywhere. And if anything, I want to be as consistent as I can be. I have a concern, and that concern has to do it has to do with the combat. It has to do with
that is something that I was also, like, in the back of my mind thinking about, because it's just like, what is the approach going to be? Is it going to be more like Legend of Spyro, or is it going to try and be more like classic? Is it going to try and blend the two together in some unique, interesting way?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Because we didn't really see, I mean, obviously we couldn't really see much in that, like, what is it? It's like 5 seconds of gameplay, almost 3.
7. We clocked it at 7.
7? Is it 7?
You can fit it in a vibe.
Even with then,
fit it in a vibe.
even with then, like you don't get a good glimpse to see if there's like enemies sprout out. You know, like
yeah, it's that's the one thing that I do give a little bit of like here we'll call this like the you know, some of the criticizing a little bit, the criticizing section. Yeah. I'll say this. I don't like the fact that we only got 7 seconds of footage. I wish that we had gotten like even 20. Now I know if I say, oh, if we got 20, I wish we had 30, and from 30. But you know, and you know, you can turn around and say, oh, you got 5 minutes. Well, I wish we had gotten 10, right? But there is an objective point where 7 seconds for anything is not a lot, right?
It's not, no.
Yeah, it's you could go, oh, that's a really interesting, you know, taste, but to consider it a taste, you know, if you were to buy a new car and you only saw 7 seconds, would you be like, oh, I'm sold on the car? Well, no, because you're like, okay, I only saw 7 seconds, right? Or 7 seconds of a movie, right? Would you be sold on it immediately? I wish that they did just a little bit more. I wish that we saw a little bit of the ground traversal. But the big critique that I will say is I wish we saw a better look at the in-game model. And I have a little bit of I have a little bit of actual personal investment into this because of the fact that I used to work at a VFX studio and an animation studio. As you know, I've told the story too many times. I'm not going to repeat it. But what happened is that sometimes, especially in video games, CGI doesn't translate as well from the video game in-game asset, right? And sometimes, I remember, I'll tell this story. It's a different story that I haven't told yet. So, I wasn't involved on this. I'm not going to say the show. Actually, I'll say the show. The show is called The Expanse. And it was, and it's a space opera, sci-fi, politics, etc. And I didn't personally work on it. All I did was like a bunch of demo reels to show to other studios to get contracts and stuff for the company. That's one of the things that I did, but I didn't actually work on the actual visual effects, but I worked beside them and I heard meetings and I heard this and so there was at one point, and I'm going to now obfuscate the details. There was a ship that was designed that we had gotten the initial design for that was built and it was used. And then what we found out was that it was an earlier design and they made a change to it at some point. And it didn't get to the VFX artist in time. And when they submitted the shot for testing, it was like, you have the wrong model. And they're like, what do you mean we have the wrong model? This is the model that we have. And then they turned around and said, no, it should look like this. And they sent them new concept art that was not approved and was not known. And there was a big freak out because the shots had to be done by a specific time. And stuff like that happens a lot. So,
I'd imagine, especially in the entertainment industry.
Right. So, especially when you're working with so many teams and so many places and so many compositors and so many animation houses.
Right.
And so what typically happens sometimes is when you're doing CGI for a product that's early, they will send the like concept art over to the people who are doing CGI, but then they will tweak the final concept art for the game. Right. And it'll be like, oh, okay, it's a little bit different because there already is a bit of a difference if you look at the in-game model and if you look at the CGI, there's already a design difference with the tail. The tail is different. It's not the same.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah. If you go back and look, you will see the in-game CGI. It's like this really strong spiral, but in-game, it's got ridges on this. And if you look at the in-game and the concept art, there's ridges on the side, like it would be able to slap somebody, like you know, like an ankylosaurus. And so already there's a difference there. So my thought is, okay, well, this is one of two things. Either one, Spyro's going to be able to have upgradable parts to change depending on the player, or two, there's a design difference. And that design difference can be from the fact that when they submitted the concept art to the VFX studio, it had that tail. But then when they get to the final game, you're going to see, and I'm sure that what we see in the game right now from the 7 seconds, it might change again by the time the final release is.
Right.
So, you know, because there were some people that were like, oh, the eyebrows are too big, or oh, this is, and I'm like, I'm leaving judgment at the door until I see a final in-game model, because because I know of how this stuff, you need to get the egg thief, because I know how these things work. I wish that, so that's why I say I wish that we saw an in-game model. Like, even if it cuts to his face, smiling, posing, and then we got like the 7 seconds that we got, I would have been happier, because then it's like, okay, now we see what he looks like in-game. We know what he looks like in-game, right? We're not using just the CGI assets. We can see this is the actual in-game model, which is important. So that's one complaint I have. I wish it was a bit longer. And what else is there? Really, what I'm looking forward to is the next time that we go to do it, that we go to see stuff. I hope to see like gameplay, and then I would love an explainer. You know how sometimes they have like those 5-minute showcase where it's like, when you play a Spyro, do this, and when you do this, this happens, and then it's like it's not just here's gameplay, voila. Though I don't mind that. I like a 1 minute, here's gameplay, voila, but then, hey, let's go 5 minutes of going over, hey, this is how this works. This is how this happens.
Yeah,
so
sort of like what they did with Dingo Dial in Crash 4 with Lou, and he's just doing a complete breakdown of the gameplay. I really do enjoy when they do stuff like that.
Yeah, and I love when Lou does that stuff. Lou just brings a life to... I love when Lou does the VO and
He's
stuff.
got charisma.
He's got the charisma.
He's just really good.
He's really good with that, and I absolutely love when he does the breakdowns and stuff. And I remember that he had the meme that was for dingoes of you can feel the suck. And
you can really feel the suck.
And then I remember afterwards at some interview or something, it might have been with me or someone else. He was like, that was he was saying, it's like, yeah, he was like, as if like, oh gosh, why did I say that? Because now everyone's like, hey Lou, can you feel the suck? I can't remember which one it was, but it was fun. That was really funny. I was, Lou's a great guy, and hopefully I can get him on the channel again. I'm trying to. I'm like, I'm kind of pleading, like, with emails, like, please, please let them come on the channel. Like, listen, we can talk so little, but
it's just like, please,
come on, guys, come on, please. No, I would. No, Lou's a really good guy. On camera and off camera, we've had a few conversations. Not like a crazy amount. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I know Lou and his family. I know.
He's my best friend.
He's my best friend. But
he seems like a really both him and Paul seem like really nice.
I am
people.
willing to become a best friend. I'm just saying, like, hey, listen, the application is there. Best friend. I'm Lou. I'm open. All right, but I'm not gonna sit here and claim Lou's best friend, but the few conversations that we have had on and off camera, he's been nothing but a kind soul and funny and really knowledgeable. And I mean, he's been on the channel twice, and and also too, Lou went through probably one of the most brutal interviews that I had ever seen for Crash 4, where I sat down and I was reading, like, it was a harsh interview where we were just like it was like, hey, here's are some of the critiques of the game. What are your thoughts about it? And, you know, it was pretty brazen, but, you know, I let them know ahead of time, hey, this is going to be a tougher interview because I want to do this, right? And I want to dig and get those answers, right? And Lou took it in stride. Lou wasn't like, he wasn't offended. He wasn't upset. He was like, yeah, sure, I'll go into that. I'll break down a decision on that and why it may have landed in us and didn't land for others and why this landed here and not there. So he's like, you know, it was really good. So, yeah, Lou, really kind guy, really nice guy. Paul as well. Paul is really, Paul is also very methodical. He's very, hence his hypothetically comments when he spoke on the channel a few years back but Paul's very methodical. He's very analytical. He's very, I don't want to say careful, but he's very
yeah, I totally get that kind of vibe.
Right. And it's funny because
just listening
it's like,
to him in interviews and seeing him on camera, like, yeah, he definitely knows what he's talking about.
Yeah,
100%. He knows how much he needs to talk about it, and he knows when to stop talking about it.
Yeah, and it's funny because Lou is like the same as him, but like the chaos version of Paul, and it's great. I love it. It's like they're
it's
almost
nice to
like
have that parallel.
Yeah, they're like yin and yang in the best way possible, where it's just, you know, Lou is, you know, crazy chaos monkey, but able to be reined in, and Paul is just very zen and very, you know, methodical, and together they're creating games that are just absolutely brilliant. So, I mean, keep the combination going, in my opinion, because, I mean, like, so far
it works.
And also, I want to give a shout out to Lou for also, he went on defense for Rumble. And I know that's not quite, you know, related to Spyro, but he went a little bit on the defense for Rumble because there was a question that Tim Geddes asked, which I understand why he asked it. But as a fan of Rumble, there was a slight like, you know, clutching my pearls a little bit, where he was like, was Rumble mandated by Activision to be made? And he says, would I be wrong to say that? And Lou's like, absolutely, you're wrong. and then Lou was just like, no, you know, you know, it was a thought experiment. We really enjoyed it. It was something that was really important to us. Sorry, my phone is going nuts on me.
No, you're fine. You're perfectly fine.
Yeah. But it was like, hey, we're doing this and we wanted to do this and this is what we went for. And I appreciate it as a still a fan of Rumble myself, right?
Oh, yeah, no.
You know,
I loved Rumble. I'm still like brokenhearted that it's gone because like I was even talking about it with I'm sure you've talked with him a couple of times, but Mr. Evaporation, I was talking to him about it the other night, and we were talking about like scrapped characters that we saw from concept, and we're just like, dude, this game could have been like something so unique. It's such a shame.
It is a shame, and you know, I wish that it could have lived on. But there was a conversation I had with someone else who I will not name, but I will say definitely has weight in this opinion. And they said that if Rumble was as successful as everyone wanted it to be, we may not have gotten Spyro, because Toys for Bob would have been regulated to continue to make Rumble updates and would not have been able to break free to be able to make Spyro. And that makes me sad, but I also can understand it. I just wish that there would be somebody that could pick up the mantle and at least be like, okay, we're going to do slow updates on this thing. We'll release an update every 3 months. We'll make it free to play, and we'll release an update every few months, and we'll turn on the microtransactions and then see what happens, right? And let it go, let it fly. So, but overall, I think that I'm really excited for Spyro's future. I think that Spyro shouldn't just be used as a nostalgia stick to pull out once in a while and, you know, entertain the fans and then go away for another 8 years. I think to have Spyro come back and being a regularly seen character over and over and over again, I think is going to be, I want that to happen for Spyro. I want it to be so that when a new Spyro game comes out, the reaction for it from the general consensus is, oh, cool, new Spyro, great, right?
Yes. Spyro, I believe this franchise has that power.
It does. I think it does. I think that this franchise, I mean, like, there's also to say, even on a commercial like foundation, Reignited sold 11 million copies, and not only that, the amount of merch every single time that I see Spyro merch comes in, the first wave always is like sold out immediately, and like so even looking at through a commercial lens, I believe that there is a foundation for this game to be a regular occurring every 3 or 4 years we see a new Spyro game, right? Or even like every 5 years, right? You know, I don't want it every 5 years, but if it was like every 5 years, right? Almost at the rate that, like, you know, Sonic is coming out, right?
Yes.
I would be happy with that. I'd be thrilled with that. I want it to be able to do well. I want it to do well, and I want it to grow, not just for my own channel's sake, but for the fact of the love of the franchise, right? If, you know, if at one point, like, let's say I have to stop doing YouTube for whatever reason, and Spyro is still going and still going strong, I would still be happy. I would still be happy. It wouldn't be like, oh, well, you know, now that my channel is done. No, I wouldn't want that. I would want to, if my channel were to end tomorrow, the wish that I would have is that Spyro would come back as a constant reoccurring character, as well as Crash, right? I would love to be able to have both of those characters back to back to back to back and consistently put out games that people really enjoy, right? And once in a while, you know, they might put out a stinker, or once in a while one doesn't review critically well or whatnot, and for us to be able to have those discussions, right? Because people have these discussions with Sonic where they were like, oh, this game was terrible, but this game was great, and then this game was awful, and then this game was okay, and you know, people sit there and they debate, and there's still debates coming out about Sonic all the time. I know I'm entering your realm here.
No, definitely. I mean, like, these franchise, both Crash and Spyro, have a place in the modern gaming space.
They do.
If they didn't, a franchise like Sonic would not be around.
Exactly.
Still. Like, it would still not be generating money. Like, people still wouldn't be looking forward to, like, the next game or anything like that. Like, these franchises are... Sonic within itself is a AA franchise, and I feel like Crash and Spyro are AA franchises, and I think there needs to be more AA franchises in general, because like the amount of stuff that I've seen coming out of gaming recently, it's really just been like AAA here and there, some indie here and there. There's not really a lot going on in the AA space.
And I agree with you, and the thing is that Sonic is a AA game that is marketed like it's a AAA. And that's okay. Based on merit alone, it is marketed as a AAA, which is perfectly A-okay in my opinion. I don't mind that if you have these big AAA games that are like, you know, $70, $80, and in Canada, $99, right?
Yes.
If they turn around and they were like, hey, this game is going to be $49.99, right? Or this game is going to be, ripperoni. Or $59.99, right? We're at a discounted rate, a discounted price. That in itself, I think, is going to generate as well a lot of excitement and a lot of hype. And that in of itself is something that I think is really exciting. And I hope that A Realm Beyond is the beginning of that, because we waited too long between Reignited and A Realm Beyond. It was way too long. But now that Toys for Bob is indie, it's like, okay, if they want to do another Spyro and A Realm Beyond performs well, they'll get another Spyro, most likely, right?
Yes.
They'll most likely get another Spyro if A Realm Beyond does well, which so far, I mean, I'm going to bring up one more point and then I'll let you go, because I know I could keep going and going and going. But,
no, you're fine. I mean, I love the conversations 100%. I'm just I don't want to keep you any longer.
That's
but
fine.
We can wrap this up.
So here's an argument. I'll tell you a stat that's really exciting. I'll tell you an argument against that stat, and then I'll tell you a third argument for it. So, right now, Spyro Realm Beyond has over 16.5 million views on YouTube.
I was gonna bring that up earlier.
Insane.
It's insane.
Absolutely insane. It is crazy. It is nuts. It beat out like God of War La Fey. Maybe not God of War La Fey anymore, but it beat out. It was like, there was a stat that came out that was like, out of all the games announced during the Summer Game Fest, Spyro was like number 8 or like number 8 or 7, or in between 7 or 8 place overall for the impact that it had when it came to views, comments, integration and stuff. And do you want beat it by just a tiny marginal amount? Was Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah,
right?
Which, I mean, that's kind of obvious.
Yeah, it's Final Fantasy.
That it would. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing. Here's the thing is that it is standing on the platform with the other big dogs in the whole thing. It got more activity than the new Call of Duty did. Because remember, the new Call of Duty trailer was announced a few days before the Summer Game Fest, but was still considered as part of like the Summer Game Fest thing, right? So it even had a lead on Spyro, and it didn't even blip in the top 10, right? Spyro was like number 7, 8, or 9. It was in the top 10, right? Now, people turned around, they were like, yeah, but the argument was, oh, they're using the trailer as a marketing, like they're paying to advertise it, and the advertising's adding to the views, right? And I sit there, and you know what I say? That's entirely possible. But here's my counter argument. Do you not think they're doing it for all the other stuff too?
Yeah.
Do you think that...
Like 100%.
Do you not
Especially Call of Duty.
Yeah. Do you not think that Call of Duty, do you not think God of War, Lao Fei, Final Fantasy VII, that every single one of those games in the top 10 are also not dropping dollars to have their games advertised?
Yeah. No, it's insane because like even for Spyro, who I know for a while, and I mean like it's always brought up in conversations between Spyro and Crash, which one's the more popular one. Obviously Crash would come in with the insane amount of views, but like to see Spyro like A Realm Beyond beat out like the hype of Crash 4, like it's insane.
It is insane. It is insane. It's big, right? Here's the thing. Here's the difference between when it comes to Spyro and Crash is that, and this is not a knock towards Crash. Crash is my baby, okay?
Oh yeah,
and I'm gonna.
I love both of these franchises.
Yeah, I love both these franchises. Here's my thing: is that when you look at Spyro, Spyro's fan base is not as big as Crash's. That is a fact. We know that. Reignited sold 11 million. Impressive, but Insane Trilogy sold like 25 plus million copies and probably more now, right? So that's incredible. But I would put forward and say that Crash has a lot more casual fans and Spyro has a lot more per like their size. Crash has a lot more fans who are like, oh, cool, Crash, I'll buy that. Spyro is like a lot more, I love Spyro, right? So the percentage of fans that love Spyro are bigger and are diehard Spyro fans versus Crash. Crash appeals to a lot more of a casual crowd, which is not a problem. But, you know, people that are more casual, they'll be more like, oh, Spyro, that's neat, I guess. But the diehard Spyro fans are like, oh my gosh, you know, I crave Spyro, right? And that's where I think that, you know, Spyro does really well, is that the die-hardness of it is, now I'm a die-hard Crash and Spyro fan, but I have just observed that there are more people that are like, you know, you see people with, I've seen more people getting tattoos of Spyro than people everywhere, right? There's so many people getting tattoos of Spyro and everything in between, so. But yeah, so
it's crazy to see.
It is crazy to see. It very much is. So, but Dave, thank you so much for having me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for taking the time out of your day to come in on this, because again, I know you're a pretty busy guy, and I'm happy that I can start off this sort of like, I guess, the series that I'm doing on my channel off with the guy that really set things in motion for the hype of Spyro A Realm Beyond. So
I appreciate that. Thank you. And again, thank you for your just purely your friendship and everything over the years, Dave. I really appreciate it. And while my nose may be to the grindstone, You can always shoot me a DM, and if you want, I'm pointing to the camera now. If you want to come over and see some Spyro news, you can go subscribe at Canadian Guy A, and we're going to be talking about Realm Beyond, and also look forward to more collabs between me and Dave, because there's a few ideas that I've been having. There's an idea that Dave has had. This is his idea, so we're going to be bouncing off each other, especially after now we have the excuse of, hey, Team Spyro, great. Hey, can we collab? Team Spyro.
Yes, I'm super excited. So be sure to check that out. I'll leave a link to Canadian Guy in the description as well as the pinned comment. And I think you can still do that in cards as well. So there will be a card or something somewhere.
Oh, geez, cards.
But yeah. Yay, cards. I forgot all about those.
Seriously. Do people still click that? Anyway, thank you so much, everybody.
Sometimes. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys later.
Bye. Bye, Sparks.